The Steam Deck is the biggest news in gaming, and it's that time of the week again. So let's talk about Steam Deck news. First up, I want to talk about some game recommendations. We have Humble out with a new bundle, the Humble Deck Builder bundle. And I was really excited when I heard the name, thinking it was another handheld PC bundle, but it's actually a collection of deck building games, titles like Gwent, Blackrock, Cultist Simulator, Vault of the Void, and others. Quote, "We've searched far and wide to gather some of the most popular deck building games for a bundle, emphasizing strategy, timing, patience, and a bit of luck. Use that brilliant mind of yours to fill the haunted shelves in Library of Ruina. Explore dangerous dungeons in roguelite Vault of the Void. Or conquer the battlefield in the beloved Witcher card game Gwent Ultimate Starter Pack. Discover all the ways you can play in this eclectic bundle and help support the charity of your choice." And if you use the link in the description, you'll help out this show as it's an affiliate link. Another title that I highly recommend is Shotgun King: The Final Checkmate. This is a really fun roguelike game that puts a fresh spin on chess. It's super great. It's available on itch and on Steam. Highly recommended. I love this game. I've played hours and hours of it. Did you hear that you can now play Halo Infinite online on the Steam Deck? This is super awesome, especially considering the many folks who have complained about the lack of online multiplayer games on the deck. I mean, yeah, you can play Apex Legends, but like, I prefer my games to be fun. And getting it to work is extremely easy. First, boot into desktop mode, then install Proton Up Qt from the Discover store. Once you have that installed, add GE Proton 7-26 as a compatibility tool. Restart Steam, then install Halo Infinite. Once you have Halo Infinite installed, right-click on the game and choose Properties. Now browse to Halo Infinite's files and delete or rename the Videos folder. Finally, go to Halo Infinite's Properties, choose the Compatibility tab, check the box, and then choose GE Proton 726. And boom, that should work. Now you're playing Halo Infinite on your Steam Deck. Let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying this video? Do you believe in the work that I'm doing? Well, why not like that smash button and gently caress that subscribe button so that you stay up to date with all the stuff that I'm doing here on the channel. And thanks. Valve's Nothing to See Here update. Now, this is a mysterious update that Valve pushed to users last week. The stable update channel for the Steam Deck OS has been updated with a hotfix to enable compatibility with future system and input firmware. It will download an update, but there are no user visible changes included at this time. What kinds of future system and firmware updates will this facilitate? One can imagine seeing smaller hotfixes being delivered in a more timely manner. Things like firmware updates for the controller, for the screen, etc., where access to the immutable file system isn't necessary for an update to take place. I look forward to seeing what Valve has to offer with this update. Next up, as our friends in Europe experienced an extreme hot wave that shuttered businesses early and threatened lives, Valve had some advice for Steam Deck players. Quote, "For our friends in the midst of a heat wave, a quick note about Steam Deck in high temperatures. Steam Deck performs at its best in ambient temperatures between 0 and 35 degrees C. If the temperature gets higher than this, Steam Deck may start to throttle performance to protect itself. Steam Deck's APU runs well at temperatures up to 100 degrees Celsius. At 100 degrees Celsius, it will start to throttle performance, and at 105 degrees Celsius, it will shut down. Again, this is to protect itself and you from damage." Now let me translate that for my fellow Americans. It's unsafe to play Steam Deck in ambient temperatures in excess of 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Though in the US, we're more likely to have air conditioning here, so just make sure you're playing safe out there. Inside. In air conditioning. Did you guys see this video? Digital Foundry had a deep dive on the Steam Deck and its 4K output capability. While they originally concluded a few months ago that the deck was comparable with the Xbox Series S, at least while rendering in its native resolution, they finally got around to actually analyzing higher output resolutions. Their conclusions here were quite interesting, and while the deck can't natively render titles like God of War in 4K at anything approximating playable frame rates, Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or FSR, and Temporal Super Resolution, TSR, are excellent options for upscaling a small image and displaying it on a 4K television. But you might be asking, well, why not just scale a 720p image up to 4K? And it's because it would look blurry and frankly bad doing it that way. So instead, many games are rendering at 720p and using FSR or TSR to upscale to 4K, which preserves the image's original sharpness. But typically, scaling from 1080p to 4K works a lot better. So Digital Foundry did just that. Targeting last-gen games and before, the Steam Deck could definitely hold its own. Deus Ex Human Revolution hit 1440p at 60 frames a second using medium settings, which is an impressive pull for that title on the Steam Deck. Dishonored and Valkyria Chronicles were also able to hit a 1440p target. Meanwhile, titles like Half-Life 2 and a handful of others older or around the same age were able to do 4K 60 max settings with no sweat. Again, quite impressive, but these games are significantly older. But then there were games like Mass Effect Legendary Edition and Alan Wake, which really struggled to even hit a 1080p target. And upscaling a 1080p or higher image to 4K was a piece of cake for FSR or TSR. More modern titles, though, needed lower resolutions. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Grid Legends, and Dirt 5 were only able to hit 720p with a consistent 30 FPS. This is to be expected as they are much heavier games. But I highly recommend watching their original video on this topic as it's fascinating, which Digital Foundry's content always is anyway. Links to the video and all the games that I mentioned can be found in the description. But I want to know what you think. Leave me a comment and let me know. I would love to hear from you. I want to give a special shout out to my top tier Singularity members over on Patreon. It's because of folks on Patreon that I'm able to continue doing this channel and grow it into what it's become today. If you believe in the work that I'm doing and you want to help this show grow, you can pledge your monthly support over on Patreon or become a YouTube member. And thanks. But as always, thank you so much for watching. That'll do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a blessed day.